Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Emmerdale's Kelvin, Fletcher and wife share surprising farm update. It isn't good news. Kelvin and Liz Fletcher discovered some bad news in the latest episode of Fletcher's family farm. Kelvin and Liz Fletcher, together with their 3 children, gathered to find out whether their ewes were pregnant. During the most recent episode of Fletcher's family farm, which airs on Sunday, Kelvin confessed that it marked a first for the family, as they typically keep their children out of the scanning process. Nevertheless, matters took a surprising turn while scanning the ewes, after Kelvin and Liz found that 4 of their flock were barren. The disappointing news follows a somber farm update previously shared by the couple. Before the process began, the former soap actor revealed his expectations. He told the camera, "It's a bit different this time. So we're all going to scan together, get the kids back from school, and we're going to scan as a full family. So yeah, the kids, I'm sure, will be arguing over who's doing what job. But if they've all got a specific role, I think they'll be all right, because if they feel that someone else is doing something a little bit more exciting or a bit more important, they won't like it," reports the Mirror. Kelvin went on to say, "Ideally, we're looking for each ewe to hopefully have twins. That's the sweet spot that every farmer is chasing come scanning. We have not had the smoothest of tupping seasons," he confessed, before adding, "with Viper underperforming and us needing to bring in a sub to serve the Jacob flock. So again, just looking at the bums, the more reds Kelvin's done a better job, the more blues Viper's done a better job. And already we can see that Kelvin's pulled through, delivered." When the couple's children returned home from school, the eagerly anticipated moment finally arrived, and the family gathered in the barn with vet James to scan the ewes. Liz expressed her delight, saying, "I know I say this about a lot of moments, but scanning is one of my favorites. It fills me with so much excitement. And we don't normally do this with the kids around because, we don't want to waste the scanner's time." Throughout the process, Kelvin explained, "It looks like Marnie's on painting duties. So James is scanning, and he'll have a feel, and then he'll signal to Marnie what they've got, either barren, which hopefully we don't have any, single, double or triple. They'll be marked up accordingly." Nevertheless, the scanning brought some unwelcome bad news for the pair, as 4 ewes turned out to be barren. Liz remarked, "You always get the odd one that's not in lamb. I'm just surprised that the Jacobs." Kelvin conceded, "Viper has definitely had an off year, which isn't good news." Despite the minor disappointment, both Kelvin and Liz expressed satisfaction with the overall outcome. The morning mist hung low over the rolling fields, clinging stubbornly to the hedgerows as if reluctant to let go of the night. Kelvin stood by the old wooden gate, boots damp with dew, his hands tucked deep into the pockets of his worn jacket. Across the pasture, a small group of sheep huddled together, unusually quiet. Behind him, the farmhouse door creaked open. "You've been out here a while," Liz said gently, wrapping her cardigan tighter against the chill. She carried 2 steaming mugs, the faint scent of coffee cutting through the damp air. "Thought you might need this." Kelvin turned, offering a tired smile as he accepted the mug. "Thanks. Couldn't sleep much anyway." Liz studied his face. She'd come to recognize the signs, the furrowed brow, the distant gaze. Farming had brought them peace, purpose, but it had also brought its share of worries. "Is it them?" she asked, nodding toward the sheep. Kelvin exhaled slowly. "Yeah, something's not right." They stood in silence for a moment, watching. One of the sheep shifted awkwardly, limping a few steps before settling again. "It's spreading," Kelvin added. "Yesterday it was just 1. Now there are 3, maybe 4. Liz's grip tightened around her mug. "Infection. That's what I'm afraid of." The word hung between them like the mist, heavy, uncertain. Months ago, when they'd taken on the farm, everything had felt like an adventure. Early mornings, muddy boots, the thrill of learning something entirely new. They'd shared updates with laughter, surprise, even pride at how quickly they'd adapted. But this was different. "It isn't good news, is it?" Liz said quietly. Kelvin shook his head. "No, it isn't." A crow called from somewhere in the distance, its sharp cry cutting through the stillness. Liz glanced toward the barn, then back at the field. "What do we do?" Kelvin took a long sip of coffee, buying himself a moment to think. "I've called the vet. He's coming later this morning. Until then, we keep them separate as best we can." Liz nodded, already shifting into problem-solving mode. "I'll get the smaller pen ready. And disinfect the troughs." "Good idea." She hesitated before turning away. "Kelvin will figure this out." He gave a small nod, though his eyes remained fixed on the sheep. "We always do, don't we?" By midday, the sun had burned away the mist, revealing the full stretch of the farm in crisp detail. It was beautiful, undeniably so, the kind of landscape people dreamed about. But beauty didn't make things easier. The vet arrived in a dusty pickup truck, his expression serious as he examined the animals. Kelvin and Liz watched closely, their earlier unease growing with every passing minute. Finally, the vet straightened up, pulling off his gloves. "It's a bacterial infection," he said. "Likely spread through the wet conditions we've had. It can be managed, but you've caught it just in time." Liz let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. "So they'll be okay?" "With treatment, yes. But you'll need to act quickly. Isolate the affected ones, administer antibiotics, and keep everything as clean and dry as possible." Kelvin nodded. "We can do that." The vet gave him a measured look. "It won't be easy. And you might lose a few." The words hit harder than Kelvin expected. "A few," he repeated. "I'm being honest with you," the vet said. "That's part of farming." Liz reached for Kelvin's hand, squeezing it gently. "Thank you," she told the vet. "We appreciate it." As the truck drove away, silence settled over the yard once more. Kelvin ran a hand through his hair. "A few." Liz stepped closer. "Hey, we don't know that yet." "But he said." "I know what he said," she interrupted softly. "But we've handled everything that's come our way so far. This is just another challenge." Kelvin looked at her, searching for reassurance. "You really believe that?" "I do," she said firmly. "And even if it's tough, we're in it together."